Razer is the type of company where they can't just have a single series of high-end premium mice with the Deathadder, but no, they have to make things even more complicated by also having the Viper line, and more specifically the brand new Viper V4 Pro, the worst kept secret ever, given how the internet has already known about it for absolutely ever. Opening it up, and wow, it is that classical Razer minimalism when it comes to mice recently. You just kind of open it up and there it is. Just as beautiful as you can imagine it, and you also have the special redesigned dongle that you probably would have seen if you watched the Deathadder V4 Pro video. In fact, for a lot of things in this video, I could really just say, go and watch that one instead, because in a lot of ways what this is just a way of getting the Viper kicking and screaming into the future and catching it up with all of the cool tech that was introduced with the Deathadder. So you have your 8000 Hz polling rate, the next generation switches and optical scroll wheel, and the other small touches, like for example the side buttons now being slightly separated to help with misclicks. But then there's also some new things, like for example how they're handling polling in order to basically perfectly time the polling of the mouse when new frames are being requested and sent, which should hopefully reduce latency and jitter, but also help increase the battery life by only polling when necessary. But instead of just comparing this thing to the Deathadder V4 Pro, let's examine it on its own merits. Overall, I very much do like the feel of it. It also has been reduced in weight from before, now weighing just 49 grams. Is that the kind of difference that people are going to notice? Well, maybe some crazy people out there, sure, but to me it's like way too small of a difference to ever feel in a mouse. Plus, I'm one of those weirdos who kind of does prefer a slightly heavier mouse. Okay, now let's compare it to the Deathadder V4 Pro. Obviously, it's not completely one-to-one because I have put the grips on it. There is an obvious difference in how they feel in your hand, even though from the kind of layman's perspective and even just from the view on the camera, they may look pretty identical, but that will lead to a pretty obvious question. What's the point of this when a Deathadder exists? They are pretty much on par specs wise, and also they're positioned pretty much the same when it comes to the price range, which we'll get to a bit later because the price is quite interesting, I guess. So what exactly is the difference? Why are these two separate products? Well, it mostly comes down to the way you hold them, like I was just talking about, with the Deathadder being more for a palm grip like this, where all your fingers are down to the surface of the mouse, while the Viper is intended for more of a claw grip like so. It could be very difficult for you to make a choice by just watching a video like this, and if you have a Razer store nearby or even just any other electronics store that does sell Razer products, I'll just go in and see for yourself which one fits more comfortably in your hand, because that's pretty much the only way of knowing which one there you'd prefer. Let's quickly go through what else is in the box, starting off with, of course, the dongle. It's the same kind of design that you saw with the Deathadder, so instead of it just plugging directly to the back of your PC, what you do is you grab the included cable, which is that kind of nice premium braided one you'd expect from Razer, and what you do is just connect one Type-C and like this, and then you also connect this up to your PC. So the advantages of this are supposed to be, one, you get to see these various different LEDs on the front of the dongle, telling you more about things like the set polling rate, the battery life, or what the connection quality is like. But also it's supposed to reduce the amount of obstacles between the dongle and the mouse itself for a better connection. But also this approach obviously has some flaws, like it's just a lot less versatile and clean looking. I mean, especially if you want to take this on the go. Imagine if you're just, I don't know, sitting down in a cafe to get some work done, and if you want to connect up your mouse, you have to find space for all of this somewhere. It's obviously not meant for that, I get it. It's not a mouse that you'd be taking around. It's a mouse that's just going to sit on your desk if you're a professional gamer, not if you're doing some work on your laptop somewhere. But still, if you were kind of hoping that maybe it will be able to do both, it's just something to keep in mind. Obviously, it's not going to be a first choice when it comes to productivity anyway, because it lacks some additional things like additional programmable buttons here, or like an infinite scroll wheel button right here, which is always extremely useful to have, which is kind of a shame because it is overall rather ergonomic and comfortable, so it would kind of be nice to have for a long days of work. In terms of other specs, like for example the battery life, they rate this thing at up to 180 hours, which sure sounds great, but that is being tested on a 1000 Hz polling rate. And sure, while most people won't be able to tell too much of a difference between 1000 and 8000, on the other hand, if you pay for an 8000 Hz polling rate mouse, you'd probably want to use it anyway. And that can be said for a lot of the features of this mouse right here. So many small touches that, sure, for the crazy people out there who are really into esports or competitive gaming that can tell the tiniest little differences, that will probably make a huge difference for them. For us normal people, however, Probably not so much, which is also probably why it isn't priced for most normal people, with it costing a whopping $160 or your regional equivalent. I mean, hey, someone has to pay for all of those Faker and Nico sponsorships, I guess. And sure, while it is technically cheaper than the Deathadder V4 Pro, it's not going to be that main factor that's going to drive people towards either one or the other. It's still going to be about how it actually feels in your hand. So it's kind of a weird product because it's intended for like one type of person specifically, you know? It's not intended for your kind of casual gamer who wouldn't be able to appreciate any of the small refinements that are made to the switches or the feel or the actual size or weight of it. It also isn't the best choice for things like productivity or office work because, again, of the lack of a traditional dongle or the fact you don't have stuff like an infinite scrolling wheel. No, it's for hardcore gamers and for people who can tell the difference, or at least people who like to think to themselves that they can't tell the difference between all of these small little differences in the lag and the jitter and the latency in a mouse. So for everyone else, this probably seems like daylight robbery. But for that person specifically, well, it's like Christmas came early because, I mean, it is a great mouse all around. I mean, sure, it is pretty great, and you have to appreciate all of the engineering that has gone into making it as comfortable and as nice to use as possible. So if you want to get it yourself, then all links to it will be down in the video description below, alongside a Patreon, because even a single $1 a month truly goes a long way. Plus, huge thanks to Gavin Burns, Justin Rage, Ella Vronyak, Velosh Vokan, Ella Pseudonym, Mixum, Machine, Allcraft, and Mason Magruder. But anyway, that's what it's. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.